So here we go. I've been working on this duck shed, well, a brood shed, for a little while now. Me and the partner there have been doing stuff intermittently, him doing stuff at some time during the day and me doing it other times, because, you know, we both work full jobs, but he has off days that are odd during the week. So let's talk about what I've done, what he's done, and, you know, update you guys just a bit. So this is a shed that I got for free. It's a Sears Craftsman shed from, you know, like 1985. All made out of PVC, basically a piece of crap. It was falling off the base here. The old plywood was all rotten out, and the way he built it, he put the plywood down and then set the top, or, you know, set the whole shed on top of it. So what would happen is you'd get the sides here that are all dry rot, because the water would run down the side and sit right on the floor. Not really great, but you know, it's what he did. So I put in some 30 seconds, I believe it is, almost an inch, around 3/4, maybe a little thicker. And we redid the whole floor and actually lifted the shed up and ran it out again. And I know you're probably thinking, well, dumbass, you're gonna have the same problem. That'd be true, except I've put a 1 or 2x10 piece of pressure treated board on the outside. I haven't finished the front yet, but I'm getting there. And what I'll do is any big gaps I'll fill with closed cell expanding foam, which doesn't hold water, and then caulk off the top, and that'll take care of any of the water ingress. And you know, hopefully it'll last a little bit longer than what he had. But let's talk about the inside. If you didn't know, flies are attracted to white, and my shed's currently sitting on a hill. In regards to that, we've actually just had to measure. We can't go off a level because the shed isn't level, but it is what it is. So the plan. Let's talk about the plan. What is the plan here for this? So all around this shed here, we're going to basically build a... My roosters are starting to crow. Anyway, so we're going to build a U all the way around, and we got these concrete bins. They're concrete mixing troughs, and these are, I think, 36 by 8 high, 36 long, 28 wide, 8 high, I believe it is. But these will do great for what we're using them for. You'll notice that the 2x4 is set horizontally like this, so it overlaps this. Now the benefit here is we're going to put vinyl coated 1/4 inch wire on the bottom here, and we'll do some supports or whatever so it doesn't get a belly. But what that'll allow to happen is for all the waste to fall through into these concrete mixing troughs. Now, some people have strong opinions on wire, and I agree. Wire isn't necessarily good for, you know, avian feet, but when it's coated with vinyl, it's a lot softer, a lot slipperier. It doesn't chew into the feet like just regular old galvanized does. So it's a good choice for putting on the bottom. Even the vertical brooders that I have a plastic mesh on the bottom of it, so it's perfectly fine. I haven't gotten any nastiness from using like mesh on the bottom. So, but yeah, so we'll put this mesh here across this way and across this way. In the back here, we're going to do the same, just a little more, and it'll all be open in a big U all the way around. So there'll be another piece right here, another concrete bin here, another concrete bin here, all the way up. Now we're looking at probably going counter height, which is about 42 inches in the US, and that'll put it, you know, let me see if I can give you a scale. So that's 10 inches off the ground, and that'll put it about right here-ish, maybe about here. So what that'll do is it'll give the chickens and the ducks plenty of headroom to bounce around and all that stuff, so they're not like squatting over all the time, which is a big problem that I had with the vertical brooders, because for me, I raise a lot of birds, and having a bunch of them in there for an extended period of time, the brooder starts becoming smaller for them because they're getting bigger. So you end up with a chicken that hunches over a lot. I mean, you know, they hunch over a lot anyway, but you know, you don't want them to grow up hunched over. You get a poor performing chicken. So we want plenty of headroom, and you know, just picture a box, you know, basically the same thing. Double it up, right, and go all the way across, all the way around, and the front side will be 1/4 inch mesh, same stuff, vinyl coated, and then we'll put a lid over top of it, and that'll just have regular old chicken wire on top, and those will be able to be lifted up and moved out of the way. I'm considering putting hinges on them, but I want to be able to take them off too, so we might just sit them on top and make them so they, you know, interlock together. You're probably wondering how I'm gonna separate everybody, because surely this isn't gonna be a full length, you know, brooder run for them. I got to keep my breeds separate. So the plan is for the vertical, right? So they sell this stuff that's like, it's called C channel, and it's shaped like a C, right? Or like this, right? So shaped like a C, and they sell it in differing widths. So you can buy it in like 1/2 inch and 3/4 and 1 inch and all that good stuff. And it comes in 8-foot sections. So what I'm going to do is on the supports, because there's going to be a 90 here to tie that, you know, that mesh into. I'm going to take that channel, screw it in on the top and the bottom at say 8-inch or 10-inch distances on both sides. And what that'll let me do is slide a piece of plywood down between them. So say, you know, that pen over there that has these little tiny chicks is now a month in, and these little tiny chicks are, you know, 8 inches or 9 inches tall. They surely can't have a 10 inch by 36 inch area. They would be much better off with a wider area. So I just pull that piece of plywood out, slide it down, and now their little area is bigger. You know, so makes it real easy to have an expanded area for them to do their thing in. The benefit of the concrete troughs underneath is they can doo-doo in all those. It'll catch it, and I can just slide them out and go dump it. Lessons learned from the vertical brooder, right? So the vertical brooders that TSC used to have only have about inch deep pans, and they're 4 foot by 4 foot. Real pain in the ass to get out of it and then go dump it, because oftentimes what happens is if you house anything more than 10 or 15 chickens in it, the feces will pile up in the center, because they like to hang out in the center underneath the brooder plate and shit there. So when you pull it out, it all jams up, and you can't pull it out, and if you end up getting it out, it ends up sweeping all the feces off the tray into the next brooder below. And if it hardens on the mesh, good luck. You ain't getting that tray out of there, which happened to me on a few of them, and I've pretty well given up. I just go in there and scoop it all out and put down a little bit of sawdust now. But once I get these all done, I'm going to take those brooders out, spray them off, take them back to the guy I got them from, and he's going to raise quail on them, which they're perfect for. Perfectly fine. Chickens, ducks, really bad. Terrible for both of them. You know, GQF did a real bad job on that design. It just isn't good. But anyway, brooder pan, lesson learned. So we're gonna 8 inches of space so that, you know, a good amount of doo-doo can get caught in there. It's not to say I'm gonna leave it for 2 weeks and let it fester, but it'll give me a chance to not have to empty it every stinking day. And it won't get caught on the mesh on the bottom. With the trays sitting next to each other, you know, it won't necessarily be an issue with them, the feces falling through, and I might even notch the corner so that I can overlap the trays so no feces ever gets through, because if you just butt them up against each other, shaped like the letter M on the sides, right? So if those things are just a little bit apart, or even butted up against each other, when you go to separate them, all the doo-doo will fall on the floor, and then you have dookie all over your floor, which isn't very good. So you know, may notch them or come up with something to lay, like a piece of PVC, I don't know, something to lay over them so the doo-doo stays where it belongs. But you can see that even on the outside here, that 2x4 overlaps it. So we want to make sure all the doo-doo stays in that trough because we want to make sure that it's, you know, clean in here. And like I said, this is a lot of lessons learned over the past year with my other brooder shed, which is absolutely trashed right now, filthy. So the other thing we're going to do here in terms of infrastructure is same as my other brooder shed. Run water lines across the back with quick connect fittings that I can just plug in a water line and, you know, do like a waterer for them. Going to put hanging lights, or maybe not hanging lights, I don't know, we'll see. It depends, right? So hanging lights are good for projecting heat, and brooder plates are good for like quail and stuff where they need to be touching it, because brooder lights will cook a bird too, where brooder plates will just radiate heat, kind of like your oil-filled heater, and it'll keep them warm, but they got to be touching it. So the other benefit of that in terms of heat is these being as close as they are to the bottom, not a lot of heat's going to escape, so that'll really help. I put in these lights. These I got at the local Restore, which seems to be an East Coast thing if you don't know. I think it was $25 a box, and each one of these boxes has 2 of these lights in it. So great deal. They're not super bright, but you know, they're bright enough, right? Like, you know, I can always add more if I need to, if I really want to be bright in here. The nice thing is they all have individual power, and they all have little switches on them. So I can go half bright in here if I want, just turn every other one off. Being that they all have power on them, I can connect them to my smart switches and say, you know, 8 o'clock at night, I turn all but, you know, 4 of them off or something. So I keep some ambient light in here, but it's not full bright. Chickens, if they're left in the light overnight and all their brooding period, they supposedly develop eye problems. So we want to make sure that you know, we control the light and all that good stuff. So on the back wall here, to control heat, I'm going to cut 2 squares out of this. I'm probably got to frame that out, because this is like a slip together PVC panel, something vinyl panel shed. So I'll probably have to cut the holes and frame it, but I'm going to put louver fans in there. So, and I'll probably cut these vents out too. Put louver fans in there and control them independently of each other. So one will run, you know, between say 70 to 80 degrees or something like that. The other will run 80 degrees and up. So with the first one staying on, that means if it gets super damn hot in here, the other one will kick on and it'll really move air in here and keep it cool. The front panels will get vents so that we can push air through and keep the ammonia down, keep the room cool, and you know, keep the chickens happy. I think that's pretty much it. I know I did a lot of talking. We're 13 minutes in, and I'm sorry about that. It's just a bunch to go over, you know, plans, stuff like that. But I think it's going to be real nice when we're done, and we'll actually have a nice brood area for all these chicks and ducks and all that good stuff. And I've got about 20 days to finish this, because I got a bunch of Muscovy eggs in the incubator. So, you know, but once we're done with this, and that shed's getting the same treatment, we're going to put this shit all the way around the bottom too. That way I got 2 brooder sheds, you know, able to keep a bunch of chicks, because once they go out, then they're susceptible to predation, like hawks and all that good stuff, and sickness, and, you know, feet too wet, and rain and wind, and you know, all that nonsense, you know. Dirt, get dirty in here. So anyway, yep. So that's that, and you know, oh, Wavy Man's not on, but yeah, anyway, so I'll see you later, and have a good day.